हाँ हाँ सरले So good afternoon, everybody. Uh,
Good afternoon, sir.
am I audible to you all? Am
Yes,
I
sir.
audible to you all? Yes or
Yes,
no?
sir.
Yes. So yesterday we have discussed about the Unity 1, the management, the concept of management, and what is the educational management, what is the nature and the scope, etc. All these things we have discussed. Yeah, while discussing the educational management, we have discussed the quality. How quality will be attained? I have told you that four major areas shall be focused on: the universal access, universal enrollment, universal retention, and quality. Then only we can, the management, it is the responsibility of the management to cover all these areas equally, as a result of which the quality will be maintained. Now, today we'll discuss about something about the historical perspective of educational management in Indian context. They have divided in two parts: before independence, or when the India was under British rule, colonial, and after the independence. So before the when the India was under colonial rule, so the management was entirely based on the English people or the ruler of the country during that period, the then period. And after 1947, also the the educational system was changed, and according to the nature or according to the mass of Indian people. So they have started the first period 1813 to 1853, 1813 to 1853, because the Britishers ruled over India about 200 years. That's why they have taken this period. There the two major landmarks in the history of educational management: the Charter Act 1813 and the Mackall's Minute 1835. So the Charter Act 1830 1813, there was the Governor General Council of India. The Parliament by this act empowered the Governor General Council of Education, and it was extremely centralized. Whatever the policy was framed by them, that was implemented. The states or the province had little role in deciding the various aspects of management: the planning, the coordination, the control, and so on and so forth. All these are the five aspects, and these aspects were totally centralized, and the various parts of India, they had to accept the system of education, amount, the allocation of a fund, appointment of teachers, curriculum, evaluation, language of medium of instruction. All these aspects were centralized. During that period, in 1823, they reorganized Calcutta, Madras, and Banaras Sanskrit College, and a few more colleges were established in this year. Mainly, Calcutta, Madras, and Banaras Sanskrit College were reorganized and other colleges were established. So, setting up the colleges and setting up the structure, setting up the adopting the medium for instruction, the curriculum, and so on. All these things aspects that it was centralized by the Governor General Council at the center, appointed by the British people. But during that period, the medium of instruction was English. And our Raja, our leader like Raja Ram Mohan Rai, who was known as Anglicist, he believed in spreading of Western knowledge or culture. According to him, the unless the Western knowledge spread or develops, so our students or the students, Indian students, will not be updated in the knowledge and the skills in different areas. So he is called the Angelist Raja Rammohan Rai and his associates. And he supported the medium for instructions would be in English. Then some missionaries during that period, the missionaries, the Christian missionaries particularly, they were spreading their religion, and they also supported the English language or the medium for instruction would be English. So they are called Orientalists, Angelicists, Orientalists, the missionaries. The two groups, they were divided in two groups. They are, and during that period, the Director of Public Instruction, DPI, was appointed. So this is the Charter Act 1913. Two things as we have told you that Angelis headed by Raja Rammohan Rai, Orientalists headed by missionaries. So far the medium for instruction is concerned, they were in support of the English language, and they were in support of the science and other knowledges are were to be disseminated in English. So, and also three universities, as I have told you, the Calcutta, Madras, and Banaras Sanskrit colleges were set up and other colleges were set up. But mostly it was more centralized. Then Mackle's minutes on education 1835. During that period, Lord Macaulay was appointed as the president of the General Committee of Public Instruction to advise on the implementation of Charter Act 1830. The above recommendation, how far it was working, that was the due to the responsibility of Mackles, that is called Mackles Minute. He advocated to abolish Madras and Calcutta and Sanskrit College at Banaras. The Charter Act, that was they were in support of setting up these colleges. Macaulay, he was not in support of the colleges at Madras, Calcutta, and Banaras Sanskrit College. He promoted Delhi that the Brahminical and Arabic learning, emphasized on Brahminic and Arabic learning. He also recommended that if Banaras and Delhi colleges should be retained, no stipend shall be given to any of the students studying thereafter. That was the policy. The funds should be delivered towards the promotion of English language in Hindu college at Calcutta and other colleges established in the principal cities throughout the presidency of Fort William Agra schools, and he also advocated stopping printing books of Hindu and Arabic literature, which are of less value than the paper on which they are printed. So, these are the recommendations, and the while in examination and learning, they claim various languages of as a medium for instruction, mother tongue, Oriental classes. MacLeod observed that a single shelf for a good European library was worth of the while native literature of India and Arabia. MacLeod further argued it was the duty of the England to teach Indians what was good for the health and what was palatable to their taste. So Indian taste, Indian culture, he was emphasized. What was telling? Hello, madam. Are you telling anything? Then the second phase started in the year 1815 to 1919. The period was state control extreme centralization. It was extreme centralization. The first, the Woods Dispatch, 1854. He proposed to subsidize private enterprises in education by the payment of a granting aid. So, in the first time, Woods Dispatch introduced the granting aid system, as a result of which the colleges were upgraded. The establishment of separate department of public instruction in each of the five provinces: Bengal, Madras, Bombay, Northwestern provinces, and Punjab. It was headed by a director who was proposed to be assisted by the adequate number of instituting offices and administration. In India now, it is the Director of Higher Education, Director of Elementary Education, Director of Secondary Education, then headed by under two department, that is Department of School and Mass Education and Department of Higher Education. But during that period, that is one department, that is Director of DPA, Director of Public Instruction, and in each district there was Inspector of Schools and District Inspector of Schools. They were supervising. She also recommended to set up the universities like Calcutta, Bombay, and Madras, and also proposed to set up affiliated universities on the model of London universities. So the university authorities, which included chancellor, now we call it the governor, the vice chancellor, head of the university, senate consisting not less than 30, fellow nominated governor in council, and syndicate consisting of vice chancellor, DPI, and the province of six fellows elected from the members of the faculties. So there was syndicate, senate, vice chancellor, and chancellor. All these posts were created, and appoint they were appointed to remove all sorts of problem and to conduct the examination and to remove the problems of the examiners, officers and servants in university, and frame by law and regulations. All by law and regulations framed by the Senate and received approved by the governor in the council. The executive power was vested in a syndicate consisting of vice chancellor and six fellows. The establishment of a network graded schools which director desired to spread over the all over the country. So that is a golden period that you can say. The establishment of educational institution for training of teachers of all types of schools. That is vernacular school, indigenous and others, expansion of elementary education. This is the what you call it a Woods Dispatch Commission. Question may I be asked, what are the recommendations of Woods Dispatch Commission 1854? So you have to remember all these things and reproduce in the exemption hall. Then Indian Education Commission, Hunter Commission 1882 to 83, Hunter Commission emphasized the duty of the government was namely provide extent to improve elementary education. He focused on the elementary education and also into Local Self Government Act 1883. He also recommended local self government. Our local self government that in the urban areas and the rural areas. So during that period, there was no local self government in the rural areas. Only the in urban areas there was a local self government. So he suggested primary education, declared primary education a part of the whole system of public education. More emphasis was given on primary education. S- He set up some model schools in different districts, like your Jila schools, in different schools, Balesara, Kathak, Puri. During the British period, all the government high schools were set up, and the rate of aid to college be determined strength of the and staff. How many students were reading and how many staffs were appointed. Basing on this, the granting aid was given. Institutes under private management manager cannot be successful unless they are frankly accepted as the essential part of the general scheme of education. The managers of these institutions concentrate the matter of general education interest, the conduct of departmental examination, etc. Granted rule was revised. Local government in consulting with the manager of the school. Periodically increasing provisions should be made the educational budget. Greater latitude should be given the manager of aided schools. All these things were he was in favor of the growth and development of primary education. Then in 1902, the Indian universities, the Britishers they established various universities, and what we are discussing that Senate, syndicate, chancellor, vice chancellors, etc. They were appointed, and the more number of universities were uh, set up. Previously in Odisha there was no university. It is under Patna University. Similarly, Calcutta is the oldest university. Madras also oldest university. Bombay University. All these universities were set up with proper infrastructure. Then a government resolution on education policy 1913, they framed certain rules and regulations for development of the universities, fixing of the salary of the members of the staff and teachers and other employees. Also, there was a provision of pension and provident fund, and also there was the ratio of the teacher student 1 is to 30, it was raised to 1 is to 40. So the teachers, the post of the teachers were created basing on the faculty wise. If there were 40, one teacher was appointed. If it is more than 40, then 2. Like this, ratio 1 is to 40. So, then the Calcutta University Commission, Sadler Commission 1917 to 19, there was a setup of Central Advisory Board of Education, CABE. At times, question is asked, what is the function of a CABE, Central Advisory Board of Education? This board gives recommendation or advice to the degree colleges or to post graduation colleges and the for the maintenance of the quality. How many teachers shall be appointed? What should be the medium of instruction? All these things, the internal affairs of the colleges. There was high school board and intermediate board. You see, in the year 1986 onwards, or prior to 1964 to 68, 10 plus 2 plus 3, that were executed in 1986, National Education Policy, NEP. But prior to that, that was 11 plus 2 plus 2. Up to 11, it was called secondary education, and intermediate 2 years. No, then again the intermediate was divided into two parts: pre-university, pre-professional, PP, PU and PP. Then it was changed into 10 plus 2 plus 3 pattern of education. So the degree colleges, the structure was plus 3. Then the third period is provincial autonomy, 1920 to 1947. More autonomy was given to the various provinces. They were given autonomy to prepare the syllabus, conduct the examinations, language of instructions, structure of education, etc. And more granting aid was released, and more colleges were set up. Gradually, there was growth of the colleges and development of the colleges during the period 1920 to 47. Hatto Committee in 28-29, the auxiliary committee, that was a period was there like IAS. There was IES, Indian Education Service. So people were selected from Indian Education Services and appointed in different postgraduate colleges as the principal or the director, etc. In Ravenshaw College, there was a IES. Also, he became the DPI, Director of Public Instruction, so on and so forth. So, there was a all India competition. Then the Government of India Act 1935. Here also that more establishment of the schools and colleges. Then would report 1936-37. He also retained the Central Advisory Board and also recommended some new technical education, new technical institutions other than general education. So Polytechnic came into existence during that period. Then Sergeant Report 1944. He also was in favor of the Central Advisory Board, as I have told you, that variety of courses he introduced. And also he recommended the high school course should cover 6 years. And two types of schools were existing, that academic and technical. In the past, there was a technical schools where technical education was given, and in other schools, the general education is given. Then Central Advisory Board, they have also now it exists, the Central Advisory Board to recommend the various programs, policies for quality education. After independence, the University Education Commission 1948 to 49 is called Radhakrishnan Commission. He suggested university education should be placed in the concurrent list. Previously, it was in the central list. Only center had the power to do anything or to change any course or to syllabus or type of examination, that is mostly centralized. But the Radhakrishnan Commission in 1948-49, he was in support of Advisory Board of Education. Along with that, he suggested that education should be in the concurrent list. Both center and the state should have the autonomy to change the policies of education, the medium of instruction, the change of curriculum, and the appointment of teachers. So he eliminated the affiliating universities. There were many universities like Calcutta, Bombay, and Madras, Patna, mainly four, and some other affiliated university like he eliminated those. Only universities continued. So under the universities there were some degree colleges, and he gave he recommended the state to give the responsibility of the education. Then the Secondary Education Commission 1952, Mudaliar Commission, Lakshman Swami Mudaliar, that was a new trend was in the examination guidance extracurricular brought out in the program multi-purpose schools. Secondary schools were set up. In Chaudwar, there was a multi-purpose school. In different areas, there was a multi-purpose schools. It is middle or senior basic schools were there, and a higher secondary stage of 4 years. So He tried to the bring some changes in the system of education, both technical and normal schools. Then the Indian Education Commission 1964-66, which you call it the Kothari Commission, under the chairmanship of the then Vice Chancellor of the Madras University, Daulat Singh Kothari, D.S. Kothari, according to his under his chairmanship, Daulat Singh Kothari, it is called Kothari Commission. Kothari Commission recommended many things to bring quality in the system of education. The commission recommended the in-service education for the personnel of the education department of the states. The training, the teachers get training in the training institutes. Then research, educational administration and management. There must be research. Conducting case studies, conducting short-term and long-term training courses, orientation courses that we call it now, the training courses. Because of the change in the structure, change in the ideas, knowledge, etc. Undertaking publication, including journals and educational examination. And also he encouraged the private schools. Private schools were established. And each private school had the management to organize or to give proper education. So, main two or three things was emphasized. He recommended that the according to the perception of the Kothari Commission, that education of the future India is being shaped in the four walls of the classroom. So students were in the classroom, they had no, prior to that, they had no option to go to the society to learn the social skills, social values, and other values. The social values, cooperation, the group activities, social service, etc. So, according to the commission, society should have access to the school and vice versa. Accordingly, the management was reconstituted and the members of the society were in the management. So there was a interaction or a proper participation, inter-participation between the teachers and headmasters and the members of the society. So there was access that the school society who have the more knowledge, more experience people, were to be invited to the school and transact the learning material to the students for the quality of the education. The two things they have given more important: increase in productivity, increase in productivity in two sectors, in agricultural sector and in industrial sector. How productivity will be increased in the agricultural sector, how agricultural universities would be set up, how the farmers and other persons who are engaged in the farming would get the up-to-date knowledge about the farming to increase the productivity. More emphasis. Basically, India is based on agriculture. Mostly 60 to 70% of people they are dependent on agriculture. Then the productivity in industry, modernization of industry. So technical education he emphasized on technical education, as a result of which engineering colleges etc. were set up in various places of India, so that new knowledge, new innovations in the industry shall be adopted and more productivity will be increased. So if these in these two sectors the productivity when the productivity will be increased, then the economy of the country will be increased. We will be self-sufficient in food and also economy. So basing on these factors, he that gave emphasis on that more things are given and I will just go through. Then 1968 education policy. So the same thing 10 plus 2 plus 3 pattern of a system. Then we come to the 1986 policy and revised 9 POA Program of Action 1992. So in 1986 policy, when Rajiv Gandhi was the Prime Minister, he actually was a visionary. That you see the diets now, District Institute of Educational Training, City College of Teacher Education, IAC Institute of Advanced Studies in Education, all these things. The recommendation of 1986 policy and the program of action. So he emphasized on the development of manpower and development of autonomy of education, more planning, more management, and also accountability. So district and local level of educational management was set up during that period. So in 30 districts there are 30 diets. During that period also Navodaya Vidyalaya, the concept was emerged. So all these innovations, ideas were developed, and also he that committee suggested the voluntary agencies and aided institution to manage the schools and colleges. During that period, the vocationalization of education, vocational at the plus two stage, 50% of students were advised to go to the general courses, and the other 50% students should get the vocational education in different areas so that they will be self-sufficient in future, keeping in view that they have given the ideas. Then let us come to the theories and models of practices educational management. What are should be the model? Which model we should follow? That is to be discussed. So the theories it looks or it is mainly very good. It is good for listening. Some main characteristics of theories of education. One is theories tend to be normative, which implies they reflect beliefs about the more educational institution and behavior of an individual within them. It must be normative. According to the behavior of the learner, what should be the management? What is the belief? Taking into consideration the local constraints, local languages, etc., the theory should be developed. Second is, theories tend to be selected partial and they emphasize certain aspects of institutional expenses and other elements. Third is theory is educational management based on supported by observational practice and in educational institution. So functions of theories of educational management are creating adequate framework, helping practitioners to view management, providing general solutions, allowing the practitioner to incorporate utilized knowledge, providing administrators with a conceptual framework, suggesting the antecedental and consequent and other dynamic relationship among the events, pointing the problems, etc. All these things are to be there. Then one of the theory is the classical theory of educational management. So it is a classical, old. Management should be based on well organized, clearly defined fixed principle instead of depending on more and lazy ideas. So there was fixed principle for the management, how the institution will run, what should be the qualification of the teachers, and how many teachers are to be appointed. There is no flexibility. So this is the classical. And by and large guided by the classical theories which lay emphasis on application of a scientific principle to organizational management which may systemization management processes along with the hierarchical lines. Like previously it was the management, private management or government management, then the for the primary schools, district inspector of schools, for the secondary schools, the inspector of schools, then there was DPI. Now it was changed into three DPIs, three Director of Primary Education, Secondary Education, and Higher Education, and headed by two more department, School and Mass Education for primary and secondary, and Higher Education for the Department of Higher Education for higher education. Then the human relationship theory, educational management. In the first type of management, there was less human relationship. In the second type, more emphasis was given on the human relationship. There are so many, I have told you, for the management, there is a necessity of human resources and material resources. In the management, absolutely the function of human resources, the head of the institution, the class teachers, and the management, and other higher officials. So, in this way, in the hierarchical manner, the human there must be proper relationship among the human beings. Suppose let us think of a school. The headmaster is there, and the teachers are there, and the students are there. So, if there will be no humanitarian touch among the human resources, that they may not develop so much interest towards the school, either the headmaster or the teachers or the students. It is a cooperative. It must be a coordinated way. This must work. So, human resources theory, involvement of the human, because human resources the best resources to utilize the human resources in the best possible way. We have to think of the relationship. What should be the relationship? You may not dictate the terms and condition to the human resources to do the work with kind of advice, kind of love and affection, all these things. You can give support to the human resources. That is called human resources relation theory. Then third is theory of organizational behavior. At page number 55, there is a figure that institution, social system, individual personality, need of disposition, social behavior, expectation, role, etc. So behavior is the sum total of activities of the individual with respect to the cognitive, affective, psychomotor, social, moral, emotional, and spiritual aspects with respect to the environment. So that is called behavior. So we have to study the behavior of the staff members, behavior of the learners. What do they want? What should be the process of education? So that we can provide the environment or climate. Now we advise the enjoyable climate, enjoyable environment for the system of education. Accordingly, the management should take decision how the need and interest of the learner should be addressed, how the personality shall be developed, how the critical thinking shall be developed, how the power of understanding shall be developed. All these things that in the behavior, because the learner spends most of the time in the society, and the society has certain behavior, because he has to accept the traditions, cultures, and various rituals of the society. That is social behavior. If you do not accept, you will be outcasted. So, what is the social behavior? You have to study. What is the behavior of the individual? We have to study. So, there must be coordination between individual behavior and social behavior, and the management should act upon this. How this social and individual behavior will integrate. Then is theories of human management, of organization of educational management. So, human management here that are given, the average human beings has inherent dislikes for work and will avoid if he can. Because he is these characteristics, most people must be coerced, controlled, directed, and threatened with punishment so that they will work towards the organization goal. The average human beings prefers to be directed, prefers security, and avoid responsibility. So, is one type of management, because we don't have the likingness towards the various works, dignity of labor. Due to the spread of education, people have developed negative attitude towards their parental the profession. କୌଳିକ ବୃତ୍ତି ଯାକ ତାକୁ ସେ କରୁନାହାନ୍ତି ଆଜିକାଲି. There is shortage of laborers. So in that case, what can be done? That can be, they should be forced to do the work. They should be controlled. They should be accountable to do the work. When they do not do the work voluntarily, there must be outward force should work to make them work, to motivate them to work differently in different field. Second one is physical work, mental work are separate as natural as a play of their dissatisfying. Man will exercise self-direction, self-control towards the organizational goals. Commitment is a function of rewards. The average persons of learn accept the seek responsibility, avoidance, it is emphasis on security and learn interact, etc. The theory two of the human management, that both the physical and the mental work should be integrated. So through play, through different activities, their mental abilities will be developed, and they should be rewarded for their good activities. Theory Z, which is result of the examination of the high producing companies, etc., that we individual responsibility and other things. These are the in the big countries, the advanced countries. they give. Then contingency and situational theories that the interaction between leader and the situation. E is equal to F, L and Fs, which E is the effectiveness, F is the function, L is the leader, F is the follower. So, according to the situation, what kind of management should be prescribed? And system theory management, system has a goal or objectives, and system cannot operate without goal. And in the system, there are human resources. They should be very conscious about the goal. There is a figure in at page number 58, the social system, the cultural system, the technological system, the economic system, the educational system, school system, child system. So all these things are in the interrelated, rather you can say. So in the social system, the educational system has certain role in the social system. In the cultural system, educational system has certain role. In the technological system, the educational system has a role. The economic system, educational system has certain role. In educational system, there is a school system. In the school system, there is child system. So the system, as I have told you, that may be individual, may be group of people, that the system has certain goal or objective, and all the people in the system operate to achieve the goal. Then formal model of educational management, that will go through the collegial model of educational management. If you go through it and you can read subjective model of educational management, there is nothing to be ambiguity model of educational management, cultural model of educational management, comparing the management models. All these things are there. So you should go through it and you should learn. Then let us come to the unity 4, the principles and techniques of educational management. What should be the principle? The principle, it must be cooperative, coordination, and goal oriented, and a collective responsibility. All these principles are there. So Taylor's science of management, he has suggested one management. Specific scientific management can help identifying suitable person for the job. Taylor, proper person in the proper post, so that the organization will improve. The efficiency of organization can be improved. However, the beliefs that scientific management thinkers criticize grounds of the comparing, equating, treating working man like a machine. Then the Hathorne studies, the industrial psychologist, scientific manager studies spectrum of physical factors influencing the man on the shop floor. On the basis of these studies second major school of management thought evolved. Then Hatham scientifically supported the humanistic approach. Always, all these management theory supported the humanistic approach. And the Professor Basu, he also developed that the management must be friendly and jovial person. He gives full respect to his employees and helps them in a need. So employees also respect and obey him. Mr. Mehta, on the other, had treats them as subordinates and always fault finding. So you see, one loves and one makes say fault finding in nature. So definitely those who extends all sorts of cooperation to the employees, definitely they will work better than the person who has some negative attitude toward the employees. Principles of educational management. The system control may be channelized self-realization for participation. ଯାହାକୁ ଆମେ କହୁଛେ accountability. One must realize I am paid for this and I have to spend some time for this and I should work. The self-realization. I was telling that when one teacher takes classes on any day effectively, it gives him self-satisfaction. So self-satisfaction, it comes from within, not comes from outside. So the motivation comes from within, not from outside. I love this profession. I like this profession. I should get pleasure out of it. So this is how the management is channelized to self-realization. You should create such atmosphere that I was telling that the presence of the manager is felt, the absence of the manager is felt, the presence, neither presence or absence of the manager is felt. When the elements in the system are very much conscious about their work and duties and responsibility, there is no need of the presence or absence of the manager. Just he can plan and make programs, coordinate them, and advises them to do the work in a desirable way. And they can work. The system's control may contribute to the safeguarding popular government at the remote level, state and national level. It also controls the good education system, also controls the good government. I mean, we always shout about the good governance, always shout. The political leaders always shout the good governance. When there will be good education, there will be good governance. Otherwise, the third benchers now they are first benchers. They come to the politics, the third backbenchers, they come to the front and take the responsibility of the management in every sector. How could we expect that the quality will be maintained? The first category, they are not more interested. For that reason, it is always told that politics is the last resort of the scoundrels. So, keeping in view that the education must be controlled by, control the government policy or state policy, state government or central government. But here it is reverse because the educationists or the policymakers, are so corrupt that we don't have any say before the leaders. Today, I was just witnessing the TV. An ASI in a particular police station was taking 6,000 as bribe for release of a vehicle, and in the meantime, the vigilance seized him and arrested. So every day you will see that the corruption. But how do you expect that quality education will be? No, there will be no quality education. So when you will be conscious, all the students, teachers, particularly you will see in the colleges, in the universities, they are getting high salary, but doing less work. Even without going to the colleges or the universities, they also get the salary. Their salary not less than 2 lakhs per month. So you see how we are conscious about our duties and responsibility because there is no accountability. Once you are appointed, your service will no way go. You will continue till retirement. So for that reason, that responsibility, जो कहूचे आमे सरकार का माल दरिया में डाल, why such things comes from our mouth? If I say this is a handful of sand I give, or anybody gives that handful of sand and say it is yours, then you will make it a handful of gold because the ownership comes. Yes, I will do something and I will show something new. If one is given a handful of gold and they will be told that it is not yours, then it will be turned into handful of sand. So this is the nature of the individual and how the management will work and how we will resolve this issue. The system control under a home rule and make major contribution to all levels, popular control, local, state, national. We know what is what. Local self-government or urban self-government, that panchayat, municipality, etc. But we being the educated fellows, we do not choose right persons. You have heard the name of the Professor Sriram Chandra Das, who was the professor of political science in Utkal University, and he contested from a particular constituency, assembly constituency. and he forfeited his deposit. You see, we never prefer a good people. You must have heard the name of Manmatnath Das, the professor of history and also vice chancellor for some time. He contested from Bhubaneswar constituency as for the member of parliament, but he lost. So if this is the scenario, how what is the role of the management? Ours is a democratic country. Everybody has a liberty. Everybody can say anything what they like to say. But we never utilize our conscience. We never utilize our wisdom, our understanding, our critical thinking, etc. while we are selecting a government, either the member of assembly or a member of parliament. So humanitarian consideration demands a human being is he dealt with by his followers as a living, growing, potentiality flowering organization that has the right to be participatory decision that stands to affect them. Then democracy, the justice, equal justice to be given to all. Article 60. Equality of opportunity, Article 16. Adaptability, flexibility, stability, prudence, demands money should yield most. So this is how the democratic principles that we should avail. Then Foyle's principles of administration, according to whom the division of work should be divided into in an organization. There must be division of work. The authority and responsibility. The manager has the authority to divide the work or distribute the work among the employees so that they can work. Then the discipline must be maintained. There should not be unrest. Proper discipline. Unity of command. Each person has only one boss and reports only to that boss. Manager. Unity of direction. The activities which are carried out by the subordinates should have a proper direction or in a positive direction. Subordination of individuality interest and general interest. Yes, the interest of the employees should be taken care of, and their general interest and the individual interest. Proper remuneration should be given. Centralization. So there must be centralization, management, all the things should rest on the management, the CEO, what do we call it, and the HR, human resource, who appoint the persons for various works. So, order, equality, stability of personal initiative, spirit, all these things are the responsibility, the authority, and whenever the possible functions should be separated from the staff functions. There is limit of numbers of positions can be considered a single executive. So different executive persons should be there for the uh, this principle. Then techniques of educational management. What techniques shall be କୌଶଳ ଯାହା କହୁଛୁ ଓଡ଼ିଆରେ ଆମେ the management improvement comprise planning, implementation, and evaluation of various measures conducive to the increase of organization effectiveness, efficiency. So always there must be a goal. I have told you many times. Always I am telling. I have been telling. The organization has certain goals, and the goals must be achieved. And the goal is achieved by the human resources. So for the technical good management, there must be a planning. Proper planning should be there. Whenever you go for picnic or go where anywhere, you plan before your journey. Transportation, cost of transportation, the logistic arrangement there. So all these things we have planned very systematic manner so that there will be no socio-economic problem. Planning for socio-economic problem. Socio problems, the relationship with human beings, human relationship must be taken into consideration. And the economic, the proper remuneration should be given to the human resources so that they should be satisfied and will be rewarded properly and spirited to work for the organization, and they will try to achieve the goal. So it needs the planning. Then steps in the planning that is there in the book: analysis of the situation, what type of a situation it is, redefine the problem on the basis of projected data, selection of priorities, setting objective of goal, write a formulated plan. Then after planning there will be implementation. Suppose you are setting a school or college, government is setting a school or college in the various areas. So he has to analyze what is the situation there, what categories of learners are going to read in the school, poor or semi poor, semi rich, rich, all these categories. And what type of schools, what type of children, highly intelligent, average amount intelligent, the low amount of intelligent. So keeping in view all these things, we have to plan what type of a school should be established, and we have to analyze the real situation. Then after analyze, we have to selection which area. Suppose there is no infrastructure, we have to provide infrastructure. One is the instructional materials, and human resources. Teachers are to be appointed, trained teachers with ability, and the teaching learning materials are to be provided. Then we have to implement the program. Maybe a general education, maybe a technical education, maybe any education, then or a higher education of high quality, IMM or medical science or engineering or any other program. We are taking our dance and culture. universities, colleges. So all these things are to implement. Then we have to monitor whether it is functioning properly or not. There must be proper field visit by the subordinate staffs, periodical. That's why every government wants that their IS people should go to the field and should listen the problems of the people. As a result of which, they can realize how people are living in a remote villages without food, without water, proper water, etc. So this should be. Then techniques of organization analysis, organizing chatting, organization manual, work distribution chart, checklist, principle of kind of organization, job analysis, and so on. All these things are there. A sociogram, a figure must be, uh, they may write whom they like best, which work they like. All these things given and they have to write. So, in a graphical manner, we can also analyze, that is called sociogram, reflection of the uh, the ideas, etc. So, for today, let us end this session for today, and thank you for the patient hearing and uh, giving me opportunity for only 15 minutes to 5 7. So thank you all. Now I wind up.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah. Mm.
Thank you,
Thank
sir.
you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.